All right, I've got your favorite pastime, and so I've been thinking about you all week. Your favorite pastime, the thing that your hobby that you most love, a sport that you played in college, is kind of under a microscope right now. It's been there before, and we could even rewind the days back when basketball was at its probably peak of interest of probably worldwide, which was the Michael Jordan days. I don't think that that's arguable, but maybe it is.
And probably the mid Michael Jordan career, because I don't even think it was that popular when he first came on the scene. But yeah, that
no question.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
People forget he had that 6-year run without winning anything. But they were going to the playoffs and such, but he was learning how to be a champion. Yep. That 6 years was, boy, did it create a monster because of the mill he was having to go through back then when basketball was basketball, and you could actually sack a quarterback with all of your body instead of your pinky toe.
Yeah. Lots of different rules.
Yeah, we keep inventing more rules. And now so I'm watching a softball game. I can't believe I'm just saying this out loud for the 1,300 people that have subscribed.
Yes. Girl softball.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
I do that.
There is boys softball, but
they play the game very soundly. I enjoy watching that. And so I see FanDuel, Betting Kings on the wall of the bloody of the university, stadium for girls softball. And I remember mentioning to Paige, I said, "There goes the neighborhood." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I go, and this has been a few years back. I said, "That's a precursor to betting." That just revived the WNBA. That just revived bowling. That just revived what we used to can't stand on ESPN on Saturday afternoon, like dog jumping off a bridge or something. And they'd like
so many
curling just became a thing now.
Oh man!
I mean, anybody will bet on anything. That's one thing we know, and so it's
Frisbee
just like
golf. They're showing these things on TV. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is
nuts.
There's
an actual thing called ESPN The Ocho now. You know that came from that movie Dodgeball.
Did not know that.
There is they call it ESPN The Ocho.
So
they're using it.
So Ocho, ESPN, takes off their ESPN Bet. So they have an ESPN Bet app. Takes off the second Billups gets arrested, and theoretically a few hundred players are now, So, okay, the feds are on them. It's got dark money behind it, mob rule and things like that. I mean, whoever said that organized crime,
You're talking about the recent basketball gambling scandal, right, with the rigged games?
See, that means yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and you just named. Thanks for clarifying that from the audience. I usually rely on Jesse for that, but Reed did it for us.
Clarifying your context here.
Well, you would have done that, but Reed jumped the shark on that one.
I know, because he didn't want you to talk for 10 minutes before I clarified it.
We're going there today, are we? Jeez, I'm getting a little chippy in this.
I couldn't help it.
I don't blame you.
No.
You're totally right. I'm rambling. I get it. But so you've got Pete Rose that's not in the Hall of Fame. And I understand that baseball is a different breed of cat.
Yeah, they treat things. Baseball's like the sacred game, right? And so
Well, yes, it is. It is. I mean, it's a sacred cow, so to speak. But really what it is it's the writers and the power that the writers have had since the beginning of baseball. So if you watch The Natural, I know that's a movie that's way long ago. Great movie. Mm-hmm. You watch The Natural, that really ties baseball up into perfect context on how this game has always been, dirty
but it's like baseball and golf. Those are the two that it's like the gentlemen's. Like they still pretend like it's not.
Right.
But
right. The writers can't let Barry Bonds or they can't let Palmeiro or they can't let some of these greats. I mean, nobody's been better than Barry Bonds. Nobody. And
statistically, you can't argue.
The man could hit, and I'm talking prior to roids, after roids, two different players.
Two different heads for sure.
He was the first. He was the first 5 tool, but he can't be. They can't sully their Hall of Fame. Wherein LeBron may be the first iconic individual in the history of basketball that's not in the Hall of Fame because of this scandal. That's what the speculation is. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that'd be interesting. I don't see that happening.
They have LeBron locked up in this
They've
now?
got LeBron wrapped up in the chitter chatters.
Really?
And so,
I haven't heard that one.
well,
But I
one of the
don't
folks that went
disagree.
down, one of the first 3 that went down, LeBron's very connected to. And
That would surprise me. I'm not a LeBron fan, but the competitiveness.
well, the bottom line is,
Like Jordan was the biggest gambler in the NBA, but he would have never fixed, in my opinion. He was so uber competitive and didn't want to lose. There's no way he would have ever
Right.
shedded points or
right,
done anything.
He's going all
whether
in.
he was going to make money or not.
Right.
He was going to make money betting on himself before anything
Sure.
else.
Like Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Right. But that said, okay, that's fine. But we did take a pause for 1.5 years on his career. Pause, which is very abnormal, winning 3 and then pause for 1.5 years. Is he burnt out? Is he? No. It's Michael Jordan. He does not burn out. There was some surrounding grumblings about his father being murdered, which is never a good thing. And there was some whispers about potential gambling. And Michael Jordan's bigger than the game. He was undoubtedly bigger than the game. And so he goes down, there goes the game. And so I could see Commissioner going,
I just listened to a podcast on conspiracy theories. So
Yeah.
I mean,
go take a break. It just makes some sense. Go take a break and boom, come back in.
who knows anymore?
Win
Yeah.
another 3, da-da-da. Well, I'm sure that's not exactly the conversation, win another 3, but I'm saying take a break, call it dad bereavement. I'm sure baseball is a much better bereavement sport than, you can grieve because they'll allow you to put a black. They would have allowed Jordan to do anything. But that said, I don't think LeBron is at that status. I don't think he's bigger than the game. LeBron is the biggest name in the game right now.
Yeah.
But he's phasing out, and there's some other very interesting players that I find very fun. Yeah.
I mean, LeBron, arguably greatest player ever, depending on who you're arguing. I'm not taking that position, but the game, he's no long. I mean, I'm not going to a game to watch LeBron anymore. That's not, if I'm choosing games to go to, I'm also not worried about LeBron as a opponent at this point. That's just me. There's other guys that I'm more worried about.
I also think it's just because it's a different day and age. Like there's so much new contenders of sports and famous celebrities that basketball can't really has to share the spotlight with so many other things these days, that what basketball used to be of an American like hot spot for culture is now has to share that spotlight with 15 other things now.
Which is probably, and Reed's, as far as, and Reed's point is well taken, that basketball, with anything, like we've talked about that, with it, the news cycle is short, right? And so you got to keep, and football, criticize Roger Goodell as much as you want. He's brilliant at keeping football relevant all year round for a sport that only lasts 4 months.
Right.
I mean, the way he's now, extended the draft, the way he does pro days, how he televises everything, he's brilliant about keeping that. But the one thing that I'll say that I actually think that Adam Silver's also a very, very smart and intelligent commissioner. The big thing that he's done is taken basketball global, which we see in the NBA. Your top 4 MVP contenders in the last 5 years have all been foreign.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them.
Interestingly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even Shea's Canadian.
All right, so let's take an example, because where I was going with this was it's the small and simple things that open up. I mean, organized crime did not go away with Rudy Giuliani. It might have. Look, gambling has been their bread and butter. Hookers and gambling has been the bread and butter of these guys
They just transition in the way they do it. Now they're not the bookies because it's legal to do it. Now they're just fixing stuff.
Right. Now, who
They had
better
a rebrand.
Yeah, a little bit of a rebrand, fixing things.
It's amazing how these cartels do that, right?
It's amazing
Any organized crime.
how innovative and very,
Man, if these criminals could just figure out a legitimate business, they'd be billionaires.
Well, how many times?
And they still are. So
how many times have I have said that so many times. I've represented some very bright criminals.
Adjust very well.
Very, very bright criminals that could kill it.
I mean, think about like that. Think about the organization that you have to run like a mob or a cartel or something like that. I mean, it's run like a business, and a very well-oiled business too in the same time. I mean, the fact that you've got underlings that have to report to you and that, get fired oft, whatever it is.
It's a cleaner way to go about it. I mean, you don't have to worry about.
You don't have to worry about.
I mean, theoretically, you got to take care of their family, but so they say.
Long story short, the fact that it's just a different way to run a business, obviously, and we don't love it, but there's some intelligence that goes into that.
When I saw that you could online bet, it made me. I guess I first started losing interest in sports in general, and this is going to kind of surprise you. I started losing interest in sports in general because those fantasy leagues never really pulled me in. It's like I tried to fill out a roster one time or something, however you put it, way back when you hand wrote it in, and I'm like, I'm already not interested right now.
But it's so brilliant. I know you may not.
I agree.
It is so brilliant because
it's an industry.
I'll tell you that. So I love sports, right? But I also follow very specific teams, my teams, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not usually interested in watching a random baseball game. I'm not usually interested in watching unless I've got a player that I follow or whatever else. There's just a lot, like Reed said, there's a lot competing for our interest right now.
Yeah.
When I did play fantasy, and I haven't for a while, and it hasn't been for lack of desire. It's just the person that ran our fantasy league decided he didn't want to take the time and effort to do it anymore, which I get. It's a lot of time. Anyway, so we just haven't done it in the last few years. But when I was playing fantasy football, which I fought for years too, I was the same way. I was like, I don't get this. I don't understand. But the 4 or 5 years that we played it, I loved it because I could watch all the games and have interest in. It's so brilliant because it gives you interest in every game that's being played because you have a player playing for it.
And what I think it's done is it's changed.
And betting does the same thing.
It's adulterated the sport, and it's made it a sport within the sport, a game within the game. And that's when I first started paying attention to this. And then I see Bet Kings, and I'm like, holy crap.
I have friends that are big sports bettors.
Oh, yeah. Look, it's
like I feel like it's their livelihood.
It's good that Paige doesn't really listen to these things.
No, I get a friend, Brandon, that does it like heavily. And yes. Oh.
Yeah, him as well.
Yeah.
Him also.
No. Yeah.
Bill.
Go into now. We'll go into specific
Bill,
people in case.
Bill Partridge.
Yeah.
Joe
Blow for sure. Yeah. No, I've got some friends there, and some that have had some real. I'm not going to say that all of them have. Some do it, and they seem to be in control of it, and others that I have seen that haven't.
Like it can overtake. It can become an addiction, but it's still whether it's there or not. I mean, Paige, who we're safe here. I'll drop names. She throws a bunch of money on ASU last year when they were having kind of a sweetheart deal, and she's excited about the win and the pageantries and the different helmets and the different thises and the that's. And she wins a couple of times on very small bets, and I'm like, oh, no, we're not. It's our money. We're not betting.
Did she go into like DraftKings? And
yeah.
Oh, awesome. Good for her.
And I'm like, we're not doing that. That's not who we are. It's not what we are. We're not going to start that. We're going to enjoy this game.
Never done it, but
I haven't either.
I mean, I've done like friendly bets between friends, but I've never logged on to the site. But I've got.
Okay, I'll admit. The reason I say this is because every year for years, when I was in my 30s, in January, all my brother-in-laws would go to Tahoe and snowboard. And of course, snowboarding is a 4 or 5 hour gig during the day. And then there's the tables, and there's the sports book.
We do it with golf, same thing. We do our Vegas trip. Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. Like it was a blast. Mm-hmm. You eat
super
like
fun.
You shouldn't eat, and you just
hang out with friends and family that you don't get to spend a lot of time with. Yeah, absolutely.
And I brought $2,500 just to leave there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was in my mind. That was gone the first day.
You're terrible at gambling.
No question.
because we used to go and like here's the even funnier story. With Wendover is about 2 hours from Salt Lake, maybe an hour and 45 minutes, and it's right on the border of nowhere, Nevada. I don't know if you know where Wendover is, but you drive through the salt flats and whatever else. And
yeah, no, I've driven through it and blink.
Yeah, when we were in college,
it's like an oasis.
We would take, and obviously we had zero money to our name, so literally it was like the same amount that we would spend on a movie and dinner. So we would take like $30 to $40, which is lot for us at the time.
Sure.
We'd leave our wallets in the car or change them with each other so we wouldn't spend any more money. We were smart about it.
Yeah, it is
but
smart.
we'd get the $1.99 buffet at like 2 a.m.
Again, right.
We'd play the 50-cent roulette tables or blackjack tables.
fun.
So you could play for 5 hours. We'd watch the little people tossing that they were doing outside and some other stuff. That's probably not politically correct right now.
I don't know. They still do it. The midget throws, the midget
Jello
tossing?
wrestling or whatever was going on outside of Wendover. The cocktail waitresses were in sweatshirts and smoking packs of cigarettes before. I mean, it was such a vibe there in Wendover, Nevada. But it would be like once a month we'd go and my friend won the penny slots. It was $7 jackpot. And he had to sign for it.
Wow.
So yeah, if you lost $500 in the first.
did.
Now,
And
obviously on my golf trips now, I've got some high roller friends that most of them have been winning, but there's a few $1,000s that probably could
probably be an equivalent to 10 grand today.
Yeah,
given back then.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in my 30s. He was just a little guy. I was devastated.
Yeah.
I was like,
learned your lesson.
All my spending. No. The story goes on.
Sorry, I interrupted.
So, a friend of my brother-in-law. I'm like the little brother. You know what I mean? I'm the youngest of a bunch of doctors, and so Steve Frost, good dude, great guy, and endodontist. And if everybody needs any dental endodontist, Stu and Steve are there. Well, Steve takes me under his wing. He goes, "Let me loan you $500. Let me show you how this is done." I'm like, I don't want to owe you when I get back $500. He's like,
no, those guys. I've had this conversation several times at the table. Now we want you to play with us. Don't go hang out by yourself. Here's $100.
And so been there. And so I win, and I win some more with him right there, and I win some more, and we went and threw a little bit of the winnings on some sporting events, and I made the picks there. And
And a random horse that's going to run next week.
I believe the time of year it was.
Like,
no, I didn't.
Stupidest bet.
I've never done the horse bet. I've never done that. I wouldn't put it past me back then.
No, I mean the Kentucky Derby is one thing, but this guy, I have a friend that just every year he goes and bets on some stupid horse that he has nothing. No, he doesn't even know where it's running. It's just up there.
I'm pretty.
He has to follow up a week later.
It's in January. The sports that are going on at that point. Basketball's going on. We got a comment.
Dude, okay, so there's a crazy thing that happens like somewhere, I can't remember where it is, but people will bet on other people who are dressed up as horses doing a horse race.
Oh yeah, no, that's like in Finland. They have like those
I
hobby
could get my
horses
arms
people.
around this one. I like this idea.
Yeah. No, you can bet on anything, I'm sure.
That dude seems 3 sheets to the wind. I'm putting my money on him because if he pulls something, so what?
Yeah.
It's not going to feel it. That's awesome.
Goofy.
They dress up
they
like
won't
horses.
Get sent to the glue factory.
That's true. Who knows?
Depends
on what country you're talking about.
Yeah, what country?
This is in
are you
Russia.
in?
They might. I don't know.
Yeah. In North Korea, you're done. You are done. Okay.
All right, I want to hear your
Probably
story.
still
So
use
$500.
horses over there.
So I end up about $3,700 in there.
So you're $1,200 up.
I'm $1,200 up. I pay him his $500. I recoup everything, and most of the money I made was on the sports.
Feeling good. Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm.
And the games ended enough to
good.
collect.
I'm really good at this because I know who's hurt. This is before you can Google anything. That's going to be an upset there. Okay, that one's at home. That kind of thing. And so I hardly lost anything on that. But knowing that I would at some point, and then would again and would again. I know how this is working now. I haven't gambled there since. Like I haven't put one penny down on anything. But I made a couple $100, and so I bought Steve's old snowboard outfit from him that one of my sons fits in. Now I don't fit in it anymore, but back then I was heavier. And Jesse, my 20-year-old, he can fit into just fine. It's a sweet snowboard outfit with the 3-piece suit. It looks like
It's like 20-year-old suit.
but it still is so sick.
Okay.
Everybody's like, wow, it's a cool, don't you think?
He looks like the Joker wearing it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he does. He does look like the Joker. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so it's timeless. That said, I bought that and kept my money. I just wasn't having the fun. I can see the charm in with you and your buddies and swapping the wallets and all that stuff. That's a cool memory, and especially tossing the little people and the gel. I mean, it's just
some
a different day and age.
Crazy stories.
But
back
there's
then.
still kind of some of that stuff going on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My point is golf. I would have thought once upon a time Tiger Woods taking the route that was taken and how that kind of shadowed his legacy, all the Tiger Woods stuff, that golf would have suffered quite a bit. Because Phil Mickelson, as much as we all want to love Phil, isn't the same.
Dude, Phil's almost more disgraced than Tiger is, given, and that makes no sense given Tiger's
Right.
personal history. But
Doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they're taking shots at Phil. He seems to be pretty
yeah, just the whole PGA live thing. But
right, and I understand. I mean, the live thing and I get it. Whatever. I kind of
Yeah.
don't, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because
I don't know why. Yeah, he got ostracized the way he did, given that the way live has turned out, and people like Bryson and
right.
others are beloved now. So I don't know.
So you've got all these, but then all of a sudden you blink, and it took some years though. It took some years,
For
probably
Tiger to
some
get-
down,
Yeah.
probably some down years for not just Tiger to come back, but the whole new crop of dudes that dress differently, dudes that could drive the ball just as far, a whole bunch of them. Younger appearing fellows that are very, very good. John Daly's still kind of a sideshow. Frankly, I think a phenom, maybe a national treasure.
Yeah, he's not a good golfer, but yeah.
No,
I mean, I say
it just depends. It's lightning in a bottle with him.
No,
I mean, he's unbeatable.
still cigarettes and barefoot. That's
Yeah.
the way he prefers it.
He's unbeatable on any given.
His son's good though.
Is he?
Yeah, John Daly Jr. Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know
He'll
that.
be on the tour.
That's cool.
Yeah, in college right now.
I like John Daly. I think he's funny. But anyway, I just feel like the integrity of the sport is hammered when you add all of this. Now, then you add the dark side of it. So you've got college that's now, and this is going to bleed in hard into everything we like college. So if you like Sweet 16, if you like this particular university or that one, who has the most money, who has the most NIHs, who's getting who out of the portals, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, all this is now college just became kind of a semi-pro
Dude,
setup.
It's in high school. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, no, I understand that this
It's
is going
trickling all the way down.
So it's going to be, I mean, the best you're going to do at some point before long is if you want a pure game, it's going to be T-ball or, a city league softball game or some sort.
Yeah, it's a weird, because you and I are both huge sports fans, and I was with you and keep the money out of it, keep the amateur, especially out of college athletics.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of research on trying to figure out why it went the way it did, and I think there's some definite negatives to it. I do think that it's tough to, even though you're talking about public universities and amateur status, you still had the NCAA, who was its own private entity that was making so much money.
Yeah.
And I get the argument of that trickle. It was hard for me to understand until I looked into the kind of the dynamics of it. Of you are profiting enormously on athletes that can't make any money. And this tough part is you were putting athletes in a position to almost have to cheat a little bit or Now I don't say that was right, but the major universities, we all know, were paying their players under the table. And so the only thing that I say
in
that
different ways too.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Reggie Bush didn't exactly get a check all the time.
And some got caught, some didn't, but we know it was going on. Lots of athletes have come out afterwards and said, yeah, this was happening, at least the honest ones.
Yeah.
For those programs that were really at the top of the classifications. So it was happening, whether it was through boosters or whatever else. The only thing that I like about this is when you now put the rules in place, now it's just transparent and it has to be like, now you know.
It's in your face.
And so it's in your face, and it leveled and I guess it leveled the playing field and didn't level the playing field, because now your players that had been trying to do it. So let's, for example, the Notre Dames, these private religious institutions, the BYUs, that
they're
they
killing
could
it.
never compete with these Alabamas and whatever
Right.
else because they ethically just wouldn't do it under the table. And now you've got BYU's got 2 top 10 national teams right now, and everyone knows that it's because they're paying their players and they're getting the number 1 recruit and that'll be the number 1 draft pick in the NBA this year. And
and that
levels that, and I'm a fan of that. And so it's hard for me to, because my team finally is being able to compete against teams because they
there's
couldn't
a balance
do it before.
that you've.
So I don't know.
All right, so that's the
trying to
good. I just think that I just think enjoy it now, because I think we have a handful of years before we start to lose interest.
And I agree with you. It's not any more pure, and this doesn't make it better. But my problem is the last 20 years, there was so much going under the table that I think that in order to get that pure amateur status, we're going back 25 years, unfortunately. I think for the last 25 years, whether gambling's been involved in it or not,
it's the argument we made at the beginning.
It's just too much money.
Baseball has been dirty since the first pitch was thrown.
Yeah.
And the movie The Natural was based around gambling, was based on paying off the players to drop the to sandbag a game. Was based on the writers, Robert Duvall's character in that, and he can make or break the players and so on and so forth, which is very true. The writers did their level to kind of ostracize Bonds and various others. So on and so forth. So it's kind of like the writers dictate whether or not Mark Grace goes into the Hall of Fame, which is very true. They do. They dictate this.
Sure.
And the weird thing is you got a guy that hit 309 lifetime average.
And was a multi-gold glove winner too.
4 Gold Gloves, 309 lifetime, and 17 years in the league.
Won some World Series,
and led a decade in extra base hits. A decade. That didn't juice. And so what, really, if you look at it, he just never got caught with juicing, or he didn't juice. I mean, the juicers had kind of stats that looked a little bit more kittywampus. Mark Grace was a pure hitter. That said, and these extra base hits weren't home runs, but he's a first baseman. And in the writer's eyes, the first baseman needs to hit 25, 30.
Yeah.
Well, early in Grace's career, 30 would have been a big number. 30 would have been a powerhouse number. The only one that was hitting over 30 in those days was Barry Bonds. I mean, he created the 50-50 club. I mean, he hit 50 home runs while stealing bases. But he outstole Ricky Henderson 2 seasons in a row. I mean, this dude had it all. And people forget that Barry Bonds, the guy with the cannon in left field that was stealing on you, was hitting the gaps and hitting home runs. He was a phenom. And quiet and frankly mentored by a couple of guys that just said, stay away from, this, that, and the other. And so he just wasn't ever really part of that dugout camaraderie type thing. And also kind of ostracized him from the writers, which, okay, a good PR person could have maybe cleaned that up, and he could have been more like a John Olerud, and that's a throwback player, but he was or a John Stockton is a really good comparative comparison. He could have been just a quiet, didn't do a whole lot of interacting with anybody outside of on that court. You saw him and given everything you got, but nobody knew much about John Stockton off the court, if that makes sense.
No,
and usually that's a good thing. I mean, usually when you were hearing about ball players off the court, it was Charles Barkley doing Charles Barkley type things, which kind of ingratiated Charles Barkley to the basketball world too.
Those quiet guys don't get remembered, unfortunately.
It's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I still would debate the Nash versus Stockton thing, but the more I studied it, they're both great players, and Stockton's impressive and just tough as a boot.
You just had to, yeah. And I grew up obviously a fan of the Jazz, and so you had to watch and know what he provided.
He provided a lot.
Yeah.
There's nothing he didn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the bottom line is, and an equal argument could be made for Nash, but he doesn't have, neither one have the ring. And I think that's a solid shame because Stockton knocked on the door as many times as Nash did. It's like they were just right there. And frankly, I think was it 07 when Amari Stoudemire and was it Diao? It was Diao and Stoudemire got ejected for just standing up off the bench and had to miss the next game
series
against the Spurs. That's when I started figuring, okay, something's amiss here, because the Spurs weren't supposed to lose apparently this particular series, because it looked like they were going to.
Yeah, and that's to your point of this whole thing. I mean, the NBA has been accused probably more than any other sport of having it rigged, the draft rigged.
Maybe because it's more possibilities.
Games
rigged. A lot of moving parts that you can kind of.
We've already had a referee scandal that came out.
John Donahue. So to me, it's like there goes the game, and it's kind of like, okay, well, we've got, but this bleeds into our culture as far as people. And I feel like, okay, for the next few years, I'm going to enjoy this transparency. I'm going to enjoy West Tennessee winning a national championship. Who the heck is West Tennessee? I don't know, but I'm sure there's one that exists. West Tennessee Tech Virgin School win, something, and okay, I'm going to enjoy it until I kind of run out of, until kind of that gambling story I had. It's until I run out of
The one thing I do agree with you as I'm thinking about it just out loud is the one thing I think it takes away, and like I said, this bleeds even down to the high school level, is that you used to have a big, and you grew up, I'm sure, and I did, you for the most part, you rooted for your team. Now, that usually was a local team. Sometimes it was your dad was a fan of the Green Bay Packers and grew up that way, and so you then were a Green Bay Packer fan or whatever it was. You had loyalty to either family, or very rarely was it, hey, I just like the Chargers because I like their colors. That's just not really how we grew up.
Right.
Nowadays, because of all the fantasy, because of all the memes and the YouTube videos and whatever else, my kids really struggle. I have one real big sports fan, but he won't sit down and watch a game, but he'll sit down and watch the highlights, and he knows all the players, but doesn't have that same passion that I do when I sit down and watch a game. Like, the emotions are not as high, but I'm cheering for my team and my community and whatever else where I grew up, and he doesn't feel that same connection to the local themes. And that's bleeding down even into the high school level. Like, there's a team, I'm not going to mention it by name, but they went out and spent a lot of money on the high school basketball level and got some major Division I future recruits. Some of them are already have multiple offers. Spent some money and then ran out of money, I'm assuming, because all of them left. So they all came for the freshman year. They did really well. They didn't quite get to where they wanted to, but this team was going to be dangerous because they were all young. I was worried about them for the next 3 or 4 years, and they're close by to where we're at. They're all gone. The school's in shambles, or as far as that program goes, it has nothing left. There's cupboards empty. And I talked to another coach who kind of knows the intimacies of it and just said they ran out of money.
And so they went to the next
that again, that community, and that's what kids do nowadays. They're chasing, whether sometimes it may be chasing competitiveness or chasing the scholarship or chasing the money or whatever else. That whole, hey, I'm playing for me, it was I'm playing for Murray High School. This is where I grew up. This is where my grandpa played. This is where my dad played. I'm going to wear the same numbers that they did. I want that banner or whatever because this is my community. There was one high school where I went to. Everybody fed into the same thing. I just hear it doesn't exist. I'm even where I came from, where you're kind of subject to your jurisdiction of where you're at. That's even changing, and open enrollment and open choice.
Yeah,
just everybody. That part of it I really miss in sports. That passion and community and whatever.
That small
else.
town
and that gambling runs into that.
Yeah, and the gambling starts hosing that. That's why I liked ALA, and when my kids started going there. No, I'm not gonna say that this doesn't go on at that level because we both know that's otherwise. But I enjoyed going to, this is when they were 3A. This is just a few years ago.
Yeah,
and we're up at watching a football game in Snowflake.
I was going to say Prescott or something like that.
And
the
then
Blue Ridge teams.
Yuma the week before. I mean, that's a heck of a stretch.
But and that's where it is. It's still existing.
That was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun because I was drawing off their excitement. That was their Friday night. That was everybody in this town had to have been there. And it was really cool. It's a high school football game, but it was really, really cool. Now, Snowflake was, whether they were competitive or not, I think those stands are full of
No,
the same.
it didn't matter because
But they
that
were
community
competitive
still
that year.
exists outside of
Yeah.
the city. And you're right. And that's where the Native American communities are very, very supportive and very passionate about even their crappy teams. And
Yeah.
outside of the metro area where you don't have a lot of choices, that exists. And I miss that.
Yeah.
I remember going and playing a state playoff game out in someplace, Honeyville or something, which actually had a 5A school out there that fed all the communities around. The atmosphere was nuts.
We're dying off.
No, that's it.
And they're taking over. And they don't care about the Wolves or their high school or that feeling that they've never had. We actually, it dies.
And
with
that's the
us.
thing. They just haven't ever had it. They haven't
Right.
been able to
Yeah,
experience.
so it's not
I
a
try
rip.
and like,
Right.
hey, you got to feel this. Like, sit down and watch this.
And they're not.
you'll
It's
feel
just
it.
not
They
going
just
to work.
don't.
It's not going to work. It's so interesting. I mean, I get very, very visceral, very, very with an ASU football game. Used to be this way, very much deeper level with baseball. I love baseball. It's my first love.
Yeah.
But that said, it's not there anymore. Am I pulling for
Blue
I
Jays?
can't. I have to.
Yeah. Me too.
But it's Canada. I can't
That's
vote
true,
for
too.
Canada, but I know you've got a Canada
I was going to say, I got a Toronto
link,
connection. Yeah.
right? You've got a link, so I used you a little bit in my mind.
Good.
Like, okay, I'm buddies with,
All you have to
I'm
use
buddies
is
with
it's-
Westover.
all you have to use is anti-Dodgers. It doesn't matter.
That's
who
pretty
it
much
is.
all. So I had to tell myself, I had this whole debate before the series even began to see who I was going to kind of pull for, because it was blasphemy to even
you
say
can't.
out loud the Dodgers.
Yeah, you can't cheer for the Dodgers.
Even though I used to be a huge
so
Dodger
did I
fan.
growing up. That was the only team
That's all we had.
that we had on TV. And so
That's all we had.
I hate to say it, but I was a Dodger fan until
Lasorda,
I
but
was
we had
18
a great
years old.
team to root for.
Yeah,
We had Lasorda, we had Steve Sachs, we had Garvey, we had Eric Davis in your time. Probably you had Darryl Strawberry.
Hershiser and
Hershiser. The 88,
Yeah,
89's
so-
crew. They were fantastic. That crew was fantastic.
even
Gibby.
even the Dave Roberts days back in the day. So
I had a 98. Dave Roberts was after 98. Once we had a team, I automatically hated. Because it
and
was
I moved
easy.
down in 03 to here and then became a Diamondbacks.
It was super easy to hate them right away. The only thing they had left that I madly respected was Vin Scully. Madly respected that dude. I love his
And maybe
voice.
it's that passion of the community that I still feel that anytime a team can buy their championship. So when the Yankees and Dodgers had such an influx of money and they were just buying their championships, it turned me off. So I wouldn't have. That's
why I made
and
it
maybe
easy.
I am completely hypocritical by saying now my college team is probably one of the richest programs and are buying their complete hypocrisy. I realize.
Well, I mean, if we were
Still
in
drove me
LA
crazy.
and look, LA was easy to like because you had the Lasorda. You play for the name on the front of your jersey, not the name on your back. He managed that 88 World Series
and
was
LA
beautiful.
in general was easier to root for. Now California's hard to root for.
You got a good point.
Right,
It's a
maybe
fair
it's
point.
all tied in.
It's a
into
fair
it, so-
point, but I just think that it's all been cluttered up, and we have these kids that have zero interest because they've never felt that.
No, and
They're going to feel other
my
stuff.
kids
I wonder.
literally like want to film me because I'm jumping in pools after games still as an adult. Or I mean, Caden can attest.
We could post.
You'll
that.
hear me screaming, and I want to like watch it by myself in a room because I don't want to have to entertain anyone. Like I'm okay with my kids sitting down, but I'm a freaking nut job, and
Agree.
and nobody understands.
I understand because I walk.
do, yeah.
I understand. I walk listening to the ASU
And my dad and I
games.
are calling each other and texting
Yeah.
each other through the game
Yeah.
because he still feels it. That's
Yeah.
who I grew up going to games
Yeah.
with. So.
And so I walk because I'm too ornery. There was a Super Bowl a few years back. I didn't have a dog in the hunt. There was a Rams against the Patriots, and I got really involved in that game somewhere around the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter. The score was 0-0. I mean, it was beautiful.
It was
like
your pitching duel.
It was a
right?
pitcher's duel, right? It was a battle of defense, and it was amazing. I mean, it just looked like both these offenses sucked. Both offenses had dropped over 40 points the week before, handful of weeks before the Super Bowl. So this was a big
Do you know what I'm even worse at that kids do not understand, and even adults drive me nuts? So I do not check scores. I watch games, and I want to watch games without knowing the outcome, and I want to watch them from the beginning. And a lot of times, busy as we are, I've got basketball games to go to, or last weekend I went to a nephew's football game, and I'm okay not watching it live. I really am. Like I want to,
You
but
can
if
tape it
it
and watch it
doesn't,
later.
because of DVR, the wonderful. I mean, before when we had to VHS tape it, and you had to pray that your VHS tape
Right,
lasted.
had
and
enough time.
I had a couple games that went into overtime that I almost threw my TV out the window. That's how much I felt angry about this when the VHS tape, stopped recording. So luckily with DVR, it's pretty easy. I can set it on my phone. I can and do whatever. But I always, if I'm wearing my team's jersey, I got some random idiot that comes up to me and said, "Oh, you seeing the game? Like, you heard the score? They just scored it." And I want to murder. Like, Kaden knows this. I want to murder people. Like, my wife will play defense for me sometime when she sees somebody approaching and be like, "Do not tell Jesse the game." This goes from like my 5-year-old nephew got an earful the other day, and he didn't even know what was going on in the game, but he was just kind of making a joke. And, "Hey, they scored a touchdown." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And
Right.
he didn't know anything, but they're all on their phones. My son all the time knows. He's sitting down, and I know he knows the score, and he pretends that he doesn't. But
That's
he
nice.
gets it. But he's sitting there even during the game, and it's flashing on his screen. And so
You're like,
this is again why he doesn't feel the passion. But that drive, and I have people even at church that'll come up and ruin stuff for me, and it's like the worst. It ruins my day.
do you like pop off in church when that happens?
Oh, I have told many people that's the one thing that you can just automatically not be friends with me anymore if you
So
do
you
that.
go cruise right up to the top at the first time you're in that church and say, tell everybody you know that's
I'm
not
speaking
here.
in church next week. Maybe this will be something
This
that I
is
will
what you
tell
lead
somebody
with.
because we're brand new. So of course,
Here's how this works, people.
if you want to be my friend, if there's a sporting event,
I'm
and
worth
while I'm at trunk
being
or
right.
treat or whatever it is, please do not come and tell me.
Just
the
don't
story.
talk to me about sports unless I initiate,
dude,
period, in the story.
It freaking drives me crazy,
It
and
dies
nobody
with-
does it.
I think it dies with us. I think this passion dies with us. They don't have it.
Or they're watching it live and they're okay like stopping it and then trying picking it up back in the third
Reed
quarter. That
likes to
drives
wa-
me nuts.
Reed likes to watch a Suns game from time to time. That's like the pure sport that we have here, our peer team. Well, we get the Devils, of course. We've got that, but I don't think he's that interested in them. He might someday, he might not, but there's been no reason for him to.
He hasn't gone to the school yet or anything.
And the Suns has kind of just been in the background and on the TV from time to time, and he's been to a few games. But beyond that, could he live without it? Yeah,
I know.
If he
I
lives,
can't.
if he right,
It's a
if he-
different breed, but
he moves
I
over to Boston.
can't.
Will he like the Celtics? Yeah, he would turn coat, and it would be like, oh, son of a buckskin. I don't blame you, but nonetheless, anyway, just carrying on. It's just like, yeah, it dies with us. It is dead. Right here, and you're not even as old as I am.
No, it's so sad.
Yeah.
And that like it is.
Do you know what
It's
would
tragic.
happen to the Latinos if they knew that their team was throwing their soccer team? There would be blood.
Oh no, yeah, it'd be
There
murder.
would be people that were killed. There would be no longer. They would go on piñata strikes. I mean, it would be bad.
No, it's.
I mean, you know how many guns would be fired in the air and then possibly hit
and
people?
it does happening. We hear about those tragic stories and no, I don't know if this is even the topic you chose, but yeah, that's if you want a passionate thing, those are things that drive me absolutely nuts.
I loved it. We got some passion out of Westover today, and we both take different views on betting in college sports, and frankly,
And I'm not on board with necessarily that part. I do get the allure, and maybe it's because I don't know. When the culture doesn't grow up with it, when the younger generation is just the betting culture, or it's the fantasy football culture, or it's the memes and the YouTube shorts, it's the same thing we've talked about a million times, right? Their attention span is
that of a gnat.
3 minutes, and so sitting down and watching an entire game, like my son Logan, who's my sports fan I'll call him out. He's my 14-year-old. He really does know a ton about sports. He follows the same teams that I follow. I love that I have somebody to share with that. He'll go to the games with me. He'll travel with me to go to the games. And he's cool if he's there live. He's into it.
All my kids like the live D-back stuff too.
Yeah.
And anything live.
But he claims, and maybe I should stop throwing him under the bus every time he does this. He'll say, yeah, I watched that game. And no, you didn't. You did not watch that game. You sat down for the last 4 minutes of that game. That's not watching the game. And my wife's like, stop telling him that. But
you did not. Okay, pop quiz.
You did not see that game. What are you talking about?
Did you come up with a pop quiz? All right,
And
pal,
the last
sit
4
down.
minutes, you were literally playing Clash of Clans on your phone, looking up every time there was a good play. That's not
What
watching.
happened?
You don't feel the same. You cannot claim you feel the same emotion to the game.
You know how I
when you're
jacked
playing
up
Clash
my
of
two
Clans
oldest
on it.
boys? Here's how I jacked them up. I totally agree with you, by the way. They did not see the game, and your wife's got to run roughshod on this one. That's fantastic. I'm at the D-backs game with Reed and Jesse, and Reed's in the room, so he's going to be able to tell the story. What am I about to talk about?
No clue.
All right.
It was mostly more impactful for you than it
No,
was for him.
once I say it, he'll go, oh, I'm an idiot. So we're in line, and there's this huge hot dog. This huge hot dog.
Okay, I know the story now.
Oh, no.
That was a great story.
It was a great story. But anyway, I got my two little boys, and they have this D-bat, is what it's called. And I'd never seen anything like it. They've really upped their ante. At this point, I hadn't been to a game since before law school. And I got my two little guys there. And they're young. I mean, you guys are pretty young. And I got the last, it was like a $60-some-odd hot dog.
They have a few of those, yeah. Like
It
they
was
got
like
the
a
churro
yard
dog
long,
now
wasn't
and-
it?
Yeah, we were going to split it and that kind of thing, right? Me and those two. I'm like, all right. And they're all excited. And the dude behind, the lady said, that's our last one. The dude behind, oh, I stood in this line for that long, and that's all I wanted. And I turned around. I'm like, I talked to Reed and Jess to get the okay. Can I sell it to them? They're like, yeah. Sold it to them for a couple $100. I did. I just right there in line, just boom.
little
And they didn't
profit
care.
on it.
And I said, "What else you guys want?" And they got what they wanted, and away we went. And
That would be like equivalent to the scalper you watch go up to the ticket office and buy the $60 last ticket and then
Right.
turn around to you at $120.
yes, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
But the guy
even when I
offered
was
it.
like-
It wasn't like this magic
no, I mean
moment.
he didn't have to do it.
The dude
Okay.
offered it. He goes, "I'll give you $200 for
Oh,
that thing."
before you did it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes it a little
And
better.
I talked to the boys, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
guys,
even I thought it was a steal, and I was a 6-year-old.
That
right,
makes it better.
It's true. And they-
I thought you totally took advantage of his desperation. It was like, here you go.
all right, that would have been a better story the way I had
I was
it.
like,
The way
wow,
it was
that's
in your
charitable.
mind. The way it was in your mind, I actually liked the story better.
Yeah, that was
The fact that I was the chump that just looked at his two little boys that were all excited about this huge hot dog, and then I'm like, guys, take the money, Dad. Oh, all right.
good.
Tell you what else do we want to get? And boom, we order, and away we go. But it made for a good story. But I just, it's interesting to see this, that passion, I think, translates into everything else, or can.
Mhm.
And I think that,
And doesn't anymore. And
right.
maybe that's
and it translates into directional beacons. It translates into juice. It translates into going in somewhere. Kind of what we've been talking about with Caden and Reed lately. This younger, But I do feel like their tempo may be different.
Yeah, and maybe that's the whole thing. And this is maybe deep on, back to underlying topics that we always, thematic topics that we always talk about. Maybe that contributes to, and this is surface level, but that lack of identity that we talk about.
Yeah.
Like this is part, like that
Right.
sports team I grew up with, that community I grew up with, that
Right.
everybody cheered for the same thing for the most part. Or if you had two teams, everybody was divided and you fought against
Yep.
each other. That became part of my identity. And these kids, again, they don't have that. And I don't know, good or bad. Maybe some would argue that I've wasted a lot of time of my life. I don't know. Maybe they
I think
would.
that it's
I
part,
feel like
I
it's,
think that it's part of the propeller, the juice, the motor. I think that it's part of it. I think that their tempo now is going to be one that we're going to learn that is a little bit different.
yeah.
But it's still there. They still have a directional need, and we're finding, and they find, and we find ways to help and ways to blend, because that's ultimately what cultures do. Is their generation and our generation end up blending at some point moving forward. It's what's happening right now, whether we like it or not. So there's things we can learn from them, things they can learn from us. The salty dogs, the silverbacks, and then also those new ideas and fresh eyes. So at the end of the day, I think that direction is still the most important thing. The motor behind it is what looks different to us.
Yeah, and it's like we've talked about, the ship has kind of sailed. We're not going to get back to the pure forms of sports in this case, and maybe it's similar with our country. You know, our World War II veterans are dying off now, and they were the ones that really felt a passion for identity of country and whatever else, bringing it back to sometimes the topics that we talk about. And maybe the farther we get away from that and people that didn't have to make those sacrifices, the harder it is for them to feel that connection. And the same with sports that we're talking about today. The connection's not there because they just got so much taken up their time.
Well,
and
I
like
think
my kid can't literally eat his cereal bowl without having a phone playing Clash of Clans or whatever it is he plays.
Whatever they play nowadays.
I don't know.
Crown Royale.
No, that's a rum.
Oh.
Clash Royale.
Oh.
That's back to your Lake Tahoe days.
It goes back to my Indian reservation days.
That's right.
No, what happens here is, what happens, and we'll bounce from here, is that I'll hear somebody that went to Mountain View. Paige went to Mountain View.
Are you a Mesa High guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it literally, to this day, that's my first initial response. I love.
How are you in the same family and married?
Right.
Yeah.
I love my buddies, obviously, that I went to ASU with, and almost every one of the folks from Mesa were Mountain View grads. Mesa High dudes didn't make it to the college level very often.
See, most of my friends are Mesa High guys, so I don't know.
But they're younger.
I know that.
Well, they're a little bit younger, and
it's like the only rivalry, like true old rivalry, at least in the East Valley, that exists anyway. Mesa guys are very passionate about Mesa. Right. I mean, I got a basketball kid that should be playing somewhere else, in my opinion, but felt like he needed to follow all his dads and brothers and uncles and whatever else.
And he went to Mesa.
Yeah, he's at Mesa.
I actually know that kid.
I know.
So, at the end of and I don't agree with their call, but
no, it's okay.
And
he's going to do awesome.
I root for that family. There's some real awesome people in that family, and there's some real interesting folks in that family too. I went to high school, all of them.
Yeah.
So, well, not all of them, but some of them. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
So let's carry on. But yeah, I viscerally, and you probably have a high school down
back
the
road
at home
in Utah there for sure. And even that, I talked to my nieces and nephews who go to the same high school that I went with, and I'm like, oh, is Olympus? You guys still? I mean, we literally had a fight in a park that put 5 people in the hospital because people were driving by in trucks with like golf clubs hitting people, and it was after a basketball game. No, dude, this was like back in the day. There, people, I had my friend had his top of his soft top convertible cut up. It was like legit rivalry stuff.
Okay.
And now they're like, well, they're not even in our region anymore. Like, we don't talk to them. I was like,
how in the world?
We play Park City, and they're just a bunch. I was like, oh man, that's just they're not the same. Not the same anymore. But Mountain View Mesa has always existed. I appreciate that.
It doesn't exist much anymore.
Doesn't? I don't know.
Neither team is remotely as relevant as it once was.
True.
But I
think that passion between the two schools still exists.
Probably,
right?
But I don't. Not to the same level.
Sure.
I don't think that somebody that graduated Paige's year, she's your age, has the same disdain for Mesa High at all. I don't even know if they know who we are. Your whole entire high school career was in Mountain View. It's not like you had another high school career. Anyway, she's cute. There's not that same angst.
Yeah.
It just isn't. And there's an angst, and I actually don't really have a true angst against Mountain View at all. But it's still my first response. It's just like, wait, write myself. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah. That was high school. I got to write the ship real quick, but it's still there.
But I really think that's, and I'm in the high school coaching, atmosphere and area, and Mesa Mountain View is like literally the only one I can think of. Like Williamsfield Higley has a tiny little rivalry going, but it's nothing like we grew up with. And that again, that's just the attachment to the community. You didn't grow up. Like half the kids didn't even know what high school they're going. Still, they're in 8th grade and they're like, "What high school am I going to go to?"
Right.
So
Yeah, and we knew where we were going and what we were going to be and whose field we were going to
And
be
then
on
Westwood
the night
was
before.
the little brother and,
Yeah.
and never could compete with
Yeah.
anybody. Like I'm not even from Arizona. I know those stories because
Yeah.
of the people I
We used
hang
to
out with.
we go on the practice field some of our days, and there'd be a ton of dead rabbits all over the practice field.
Dude, I can't even.
And it'd be like, okay, and the coaches would just make a sprint, pick them up, and throw them in off and practice. We went,
Oh, we've had.
but
yeah, stuff.
but not that
burned
we
into
didn't-
our football
not that
field
we
with
didn't put a
gasoline and
whole lot of
fire. Yeah.
Toro manure, we'll call it,
Oh, there was.
all over their stands.
And half the time, I mean,
What?
we've changed all over. I mean, the society's
have a
changed. We
lot of
can't
more
do
free
half
time
the
these
stuff that
days.
we did back in the day. It just
Yeah. I
get
don't.
arrested now, but-
I know some people that did that. I never took part in none of that stuff. There wasn't fights right dead nuts in the middle of the ASU football game.
we didn't release
football
We
stadium.
didn't release live chickens into their pep assemblies.
Why would you do that?
I don't know why.
Why?
We didn't throw a live rat while their dance team was on the basketball
Obviously you
floor.
didn't.
No, obviously
Not a live rat.
No,
I mean,
not
it
a
might
live
have been a
mouse.
dead rat or a fake rat.
Oh, it
but
was
not
dead
a,
once they stepped on it.
Hey, it's great. See, this is what you people missed out on. Look at all the fun you guys missed out on. What do you say about such good men?
Now PETA
I
would
just
get
said, there
you.
goes the neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. So we differ, and yet I can kind of see your point, but still, I don't know. I think there goes the neighborhood, and I don't know. We're
Different.
gonna have to learn the tempo of the new rudders,
Different,
the new
for sure.
motors that they've got. All right, till we meet again.